Y'all, welcome to Late Night with Bridget and Holly. I'm your host, Holly.
And I'm your host, Bridget.
And y'all, tonight's episode is going to be one that might, make you cry a little bit, but it's something that I think that we all go through, and it's grieving at the holidays. And me and Bridget wanted to touch base on this subject because there are so many people out there that have lost loved ones. If you've not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please make sure that you click the notification bell and subscribe so you can be alerted every Tuesday and Friday when we drop episodes, new episodes. So we're gonna start with Bridget because me and her have lost a lot of family members, and again, we just want to talk to y'all and tell y'all how we deal with our grief through the holidays
hmm
because it may help you, and sometimes you will feel so alone, but you got to know that there is somebody that's out there for you. So when it comes time to the holidays, like there's Easter, there's Thanksgiving, a Halloween, Christmas. Christmas is always the biggest one, but what holiday has you mostly like down and out when it comes to your dad? Because I know that was your rock. That was
hmm
you know
Honestly, Thanksgiving, and I think it's because that's the one he loved and enjoyed the most.
That was his favorite holiday.
hmm
Now, tell us a little bit about Thanksgiving with you and your dad. Where would it be at? What would you cook? Would he cook? What was his favorite meals?
Well, it's funny because I grew up just with my dad, and I didn't have a family. I was estranged from my family because,
Right.
again, I was sexually assaulted by one of my family members. So we just kind of stayed away from the family, and it was always me and him at the holidays. Well, when all I ever wanted was family. I remember dating my first boyfriend, and we went to holidays with his family, and I remember just looking and smiling at his whole family together and everybody exchanging presents and enjoying each other's company. And I remember thinking to myself, as I want this so bad. I
Yeah.
want this so bad. So the first year when Brandon was born, he was born in August of 90. So that December or that November, I decided that I was going to start a tradition of making Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
And so I went to Kroger's and I bought a cookbook, and I started out with just a turkey, mashed potatoes, some stovetop stuffing, and some dinner
That
rolls.
she still makes to this day, by the way, y'all. Everybody loves her
I know.
stuffing, and it's just stovetop.
Yeah. So it was just the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, and some dinner rolls. And I did that. And I even let Brandon, he was a couple months old, and I let him eat some mashed potatoes little off my
Oh,
finger. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But that first one I invited my dad to. And he was like a kid in a candy shop.
Oh,
He was just tickled to death to be there. It was me and my first husband, which at the time he was still just my boyfriend, but me and my boyfriend and Brandon and him. But he sat at that table and he was just so proud of me, and he enjoyed it so much and bragged on me. And I have cooked every single Thanksgiving since 1990 except for one, and it was the holiday. It was the Thanksgiving after I lost him. I lost him in
yeah.
May, and I didn't do Thanksgiving, and I really hated that. I was miserable about it. But I remember every single Thanksgiving, the family grew, the dinner grew, and he just loved it. He couldn't wait. He couldn't wait for the pumpkin pies. He couldn't wait for, all that went with it. And so he loved. So Thanksgiving's hard for me because I'm used to
Right.
having my dad. But I'll be honest with you, he passed away in 2002. So this year was 22 years I've celebrated Thanksgiving without him. And it does, y'all, when you lose someone, it never goes away, but it does get easier.
And
Okay,
it's
so I'm
so
not going to tell you.
weird to say that because at that time when people are telling us that, we're like, oh my God, no, it's the end of the world. But it does get better over time. It gets
Yeah.
easier. You'll always miss them,
hmm
but the hurt lessens. But then, I mean, my dad, he passed away when I was 16. He was 43,
hmm
and I'm okay. I'm more hurt over my mama passing than him.
hmm
But even to this day, I'll still have rare moments to where I'll just start crying about him because
Yeah.
that was my dad.
And that's another thing I want to bring up too, especially if this is your first holiday that you're going through without your loved one,
It's
whether it be
hard.
your parent, a child, and God forbid anybody who's lost a child. I just can't imagine. But if this is your first holiday, give yourself some grace. Allow yourself time to grieve. You might be sitting there around the Christmas tree and just break out into tears. Don't feel like you have to hold it in to save everybody else's feelings around
Yeah.
you, because if they're in your family, if they're your close friends, they're going through it with you. And a lot of times they want to support you. But allow yourself that time to grieve and don't feel bad about it.
And
You know.
also don't feel bad about smiling and
Yeah,
laughing and having a good time.
that's right.
There's a lot of people struggle with that because they're like, oh my God, I lost my mom, 8 months ago, and, I can't have a good time. You can, because at the end of the day, no matter how much you cry and be angry and all that, it's not gonna bring them back. But for me, I know my mama wouldn't want me to be miserable and be crying and everything like that, because it's like she said, I mean, everybody dies eventually. It's gonna happen. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
We ain't like Walt Disney where we all got millions of money and can freeze our bodies or our heads or or whatever. But also allow yourself, like, if you're sitting there and you're grieving and then somebody does something or says something and it makes you laugh, don't stop and feel bad and enjoy that laughter, because you need it to help you grieve.
And do you ever remember doing that? Like, now that you said that, I can remember literally sitting there. I can't remember if it's which holiday it was, but I remember laughing, and I kind of stopped myself and thought, "What are you doing? You're sitting here having a good time, and your dad's not with you." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
I kind of jumped on myself. So I'm glad you made that point, because you're exactly right. You have to allow yourself to grieve and be sad, but you also have to allow yourself to be happy and move
Yep.
on, because that loved one would want you to do that.
They
You know what
would.
I'm
They
saying?
wouldn't want you, living the rest of your life sad, because that's not
Hmm.
going to accomplish anything. And you've got
No.
people who need you and who love you, who are there in the present,
Hmm.
right then and there for you.
Right.
Like grieving, there's no right way to grieve. There's no wrong way to grieve. You grieve how you want to grieve. Don't ever let anybody be like, "Oh, well, you're not doing that right. This is wrong." You grieve how. If you're somebody who grieves by being happy and laughing, then you do
Yeah.
that. If that's what's going to help you grieve, don't
Yeah.
ever let anybody try and take that from you and be like, "Oh, well, you're not grieving enough, or you're doing it wrong, or that."
Yeah.
Like, don't ever let anybody tell you that. No.
And also, I want to tell you guys, if it might help you get through the holidays if you do special things to memorialize that loved one that's not there.
Yeah.
Like at Thanksgiving, we tend to take a plate and sit in the middle of the table, and that's in memorialization of all our loved ones gone on before us. You know what I'm saying? That they're still at our table.
Yeah.
At Christmas, you could always, wrap up a gift for that person and put under the tree, and then open it up and donate it. You know what I'm saying? Or you could play a game that where on Christmas you play a game, and whoever wins that game gets that extra special gift. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Or cook one of their
You
favorite dishes that they like to
Yes,
eat. Sing a favorite holiday song. Light a
that's right.
candle in their memorial, Like, there's so many
Pull
things
out
that you
some
can
old
do.
home movies and sit
Yeah.
down and watch home movies with the
Photos,
rest of the family. Right.
photo
So
albums.
don't be afraid to do that. Do special things to memorialize that person, so it makes you feel like they're with you during the holidays.
It does. It really does.
Now, Holly, I want to go over this with you. I don't know. I think everybody that has lost a loved one has experienced this. But I want to go ahead and bring it up in case somebody else out there is going through this and they think, why is this happening, or why is this like this? Have you also noticed, let's say for instance, you lose your mom and the first year or two's rough, and then you go through year 3, 4, and 5 and it ain't that bad, and you hit year 7 and it's like, God, this year it's just hitting me hard. This is just a hard year. Like, have you ever found that some holidays just out of nowhere become as hard as like the first and second one that you went through?
Oh God, yeah. It's like this year for like I miss my mama on all holidays, but my holiday that I miss her the most on, I would probably have to say, would be Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving and Christmas, but Thanksgiving because she always cooked. And I know her traditions. And, Christmas morning she was cooking her Italian food, and we'd stay up late at night cooking together. But I would say yes, because I'll give you a perfect example. Um, my brother was here for Thanksgiving, and I was looking at him, and I was like, God, you look just like Daddy. And I just started crying,
Mhm.
because at that moment I saw my daddy in him, and it made me miss him. And
Mhm.
then, my sister was here. Like, all of us siblings were together in one roof,
Mhm.
under one roof, eating Thanksgiving dinner together. And it made
Mhm.
me cry, because I'm like, I'm in my mama's house, our childhood home.
Mhm.
And I know she would like that, seeing that we're all still together, and
She
major
definitely.
holidays. Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you'll have your moments. You will. Some years will be better than the other, and some won't. And it's weird that you said that, because my mom has been passed away for 7 years.
Yeah.
So this is the seventh Christmas that we're spending without her. The seventh, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Easter, birthdays. And so far this year has been good, except for Thanksgiving. But they were happy tears, even though I missed my dad and my mama. But it's weird for us, because we feel like our family is dwindling.
Mhm.
And I say that because I've lost my mom and dad. Tammy has lost her mom and dad. We have lost all of our aunts and uncles, grandma and grandpas on my mom's side. We've
Mm.
lost my mom's, or my dad's dad and mom,
Mhm.
all of our aunts on his side.
Mm.
So we got a few relatives left on his side, and we have cousins and one
Mhm.
aunt left on my mom's side.
Mhm.
But it's like, it makes you sad. But I was like, you know what? This year we had so many people in our house. You had me, Jason, JoJo, her boyfriend Cole, her friend Lexi. So that's five from here. Then you have my brother, his wife, my sister, her husband, her daughter Courtney. That's 10. And Lily, the little girl they take care of. You got Tammy, Buddy, and Faith. So we had like 13, 14 people here at this house. And I'm like,
Mhm.
we got family. We
Mhm.
have family, So
Oh yeah.
when you have that many people over, it really helps with your sadness, because you realize, your family is what you make it. I feel like you don't have to be blood to be family,
I agree.
in my opinion. Like, I truly feel that. And then I try to think too, okay, I know I'm sad, but they've lost my mom too. They've lost my dad too. They've lost their aunt. They've lost their uncle. So I try and think of it that way, like we've all lost them, and just us coming together is such a huge support team.
Exactly. Well, and that's the thing you have to do too. You
Yeah.
have to use this time of year to bond with the people that are going through what you're going through. Like you said, if you have siblings, they've lost their parent too. If you
Right.
have, if you lost your parent, their brothers and sister may be grieving them. So I think that's the other point is if you're really feeling bad, don't be afraid to reach out to somebody else who knows what you're going through
Yeah.
and share your experience with them and talk to them about it because yes, that is very important to have a support system during this time of year. The last thing you want to do is isolate yourself and get yourself to where you're really
Yeah.
depressed and stuff like that
And you
because
get into a deep depression.
yeah, grieving and missing your loved one is very, very natural. And like you said, you can think to yourself, well, I got through 2 years and in these 2 years wasn't that bad. And you can hit year three, four, and five, and they'll just about kill you,
It
So, but
happens to everybody.
it does.
Everybody.
That's very, very normal. But like I said, the coping part of it. Holly, what do you, when you find yourself missing your mom, what do you do to cope with that?
When I find that, like, I'm missing my mama, I'll go ahead and cry. I'll let it all come out. Because I always feel better after I cry. But
Mm-hmm.
I might call Tammy, or I might call Mary or Larry,
Mm-hmm.
or go to Jason or Jojo and be like, I'm missing my mama today. and then they'll comfort me and be like, "It's
Mhm.
okay, I understand." But I do, if I wanna cry and crying's coming, I'll let it come.
Mhm.
But a lot of times I'll watch like her favorite show, her favorite movie. And I think
Mhm.
that's why I watch Grey's Anatomy so much.
Mhm.
My mama got me hooked on Grey's Anatomy with her, and that
Right.
was her favorite show.
Mhm.
And like before we started podcasting, it's paused right now. I've got Grey's Anatomy playing in the background.
Mhm.
That reminds me so much of my mama. I watch Big Brother every year because that was our show. We watched the live feeds together. We watched every episode. We were always on the phone. Did you see what happened here and what's going on this time? And
Mhm.
what's going on this camera and stuff. So things like that help me deal with her
Mhm.
grief, and looking at
Mhm.
pictures and listening to songs that she liked. So that's how I deal with it.
Mhm.
What about
Me
you?
too. Same, but I will get out some pictures of my dad. You know what I'm saying, and go through them because
Hmm.
even though it's like a bittersweet. Even though it's painful to look at those pictures, it's comforting too. You know what I'm
It
saying?
is, yeah.
Or like you said, I'll reach out to family or friends and just say, I'm just having a really hard time this year, missing my dad. But it's like you said, definitely reach out or do something to help you cope. I'll be honest with
Yeah.
you, I find that sometimes when I get depressed and I'm thinking about my dad, coloring does help, journaling does
Yes.
help.
Read a
Um,
book.
Journaling helps, reading a book helps, drawing, just some kind of art, because those type things can get your mind off of stuff.
Yeah, they can.
And it's not that you shouldn't think about it, because it's okay to do that. It's just it's hard. Now, the other thing is there's some of the y'all are going through it for the first time. Like my husband just lost his dad this past January. So this is his first
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, his first Christmas going through the holidays without his dad. And it's very hard. But I promise you guys, and I can tell you this, Holly can tell you this, it can and it will get better. Yes, you'll have some
It
hard
really
years,
does.
but you will find yourself looking back on those memories and laughing and smiling and enjoying those memories. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because they are your loved one. But just like Holly said, the thing you want to keep in mind is your loved one would not want you to stop living or be
Yeah.
sad. You know what I'm saying? They want you to keep going. So I think that would be our message to you guys today. It's to let you know it happens.
And you're not
Death,
alone.
you're not. Death is a part of life. You can't get around it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Holidays is a really, really hard time to deal with that. Every day is hard to deal without your loved one, but when it comes to the holidays, it makes it really hard. Um, but just hang on to those memories. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and also too, y'all, if y'all feel alone, there is help out there. They have
Yes.
hotlines. Like, call somebody. Don't just sit there and be depressed and get yourself in like this dark hole that you can't dig yourself out of.
Right.
There's some people who can't handle it and they unalive themselves. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's help out there if you feel like you don't have anyone or a family member that you can turn to,
Mm-hmm.
or you honestly really don't have any family left. Pick up that phone and call the hotline, because that's what they're there for. They're not
Mm-hmm.
they're that saying, what is it, we listen and we don't judge. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're there to help you, to let you know it's gonna be okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna. And there's one more thing I want to tell you before we end our podcast. And I know this is gonna sound weird and some people may not believe it. I don't know. But when my mama first died, there was a show. You ever heard of Teresa, the Long Island Medium?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, Mama loved watching that show. And I liked watching it with her too. I'd sit in her bedroom with her, and I'd sit on the floor, sit on her bed, and we'd sit and we'd watch it. And when she passed away, for almost 2 months straight, I just binge watched episodes of her. And
Mm-hmm.
it helped me so much with my grieving with her, because I don't know, it was like that was my confirmation that there is something out there on the other side, that the
Yeah.
spirits, it didn't just lights out, that they are there watching us,
Yeah.
looking after us, and still trying to protect us.
Yeah.
And that, I ain't gonna lie. that did wonders mentally for me. And I know
That's
it
good.
sounds weird, but it did. It
Right.
did.
And whether it's like Holly said, whether it's watching a show like that, whether it's going through pictures, maybe you just want to make a scrapbook of that loved one. I think her point is you can do certain things that will help you cope.
Yes,
You know what
exactly.
I'm saying? Help you cope. Sometimes it might even be good. I know I did this at first. I bought a book, just a notebook, and I just started writing notes to my dad, like, Dad, today this happened, and Dad, the boys did this today, or Brittany
Yes.
did that today. That way I felt like I was continuing to talk to him. Now, I did drop off, and I eventually quit writing in the book. But at
But
first,
you
that's
did it
what
to help
helped
you.
me. Yeah,
And there's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. That's actually a good idea. I've done that
yeah,
sometimes, write like little letters to mama and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
And it does. It's like, and I'll read it out loud by myself. It's like I'm reading it to her and
Yes.
be like, Mama, this is what happened. Because we used to talk on the phone every single day. Even though, before we moved in with her, we only lived like 2 miles apart.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah,
we hope that we've helped y'all with this. Holidays are tough. But just know that you'll get through it. Even if you have to watch our podcast like 10 times back to back to back to back to back to back, know
yeah,
that we have been through it. We are going through it. And
yeah.
you really will be okay. You
You
really
will.
will be
Now, Holly,
okay.
before we end, I do want to ask you one question.
Uh huh.
I want you to end this podcast with a message to your family in the event anything ever happened to you. How do you want them to proceed with their holidays?
I want them to carry on our traditions. I want all of our family to get together. I want Mary to still cook her famous lasagna that is just like my mama's and her meatballs. I want my brother to still make sure he comes down for the holidays, even though you are almost 3 hours away. And I just want them to continue to be a family and remember us through the holidays of how much I loved Christmas and all the funny
Hmm.
moments that we had and the silly things that we've done, and yeah, and that I loved him.
That's nice.
What
That's
about
nice.
you?
Okay, so for me, family, why the hell ain't you crying? I ain't even here. Why the hell ain't you crying? I'm just kidding. I just had to say that. No, really, family, I love you and I want you happy and I want you to enjoy the holidays and I don't want you to grieve. I want you to guys to sit around and tell stories about me and about us and things we did that made you laugh because that's all I want you to do is continue on with your happiness. You know what I'm saying? Just like Holly said, I want everybody to get together, still cook the meals, still do things that make you happy because, honey, you will see me again. I promise you. I ain't going nowhere.
Exactly.
I ain't going nowhere permanently, just for a little while.
Right. We'll be lurking. We'll be lurking.
That's
But
right.
yeah, we hope y'all have a very happy holiday. Stay safe. Take care of your mental health.
Yep.
Know that you've got love and support and that somebody is out there. So happy holidays and we love y'all.
Bye.